happy, like, a little bit reopening day? Like, restriction? Not day, week.
It was like reopening day, wasn't it? It was the 12th.
Yeah. There was a big old day, April 12th. So I know that this week I've been in a lot better of a mood. I've been knackered because I'm back on, like, doing quite a lot. But I don't know. I've been happier. I don't know. And it's really small things. Like today, I nipped out and had a coffee at my favorite cafe outside. I mean, I had like 4 layers on because
It's fucking cold.
Because it doesn't matter. I was there. I was smiling. It was packed. Everyone was happy. Like, it's like everyone in England is really happy right now. Or drunk. They're drunk or happy. Either one. Whatever.
Yeah.
Or both. Sometimes both. Sometimes it goes the wrong way. But yeah. So it's been really good. I work at a gym as one of the things I do. And it's just been a really good week. So it was a brand new gym that opened. Yeah, it was really good. The first day, though, so I was closing the gym, actually. Not closing it, because anyway. I was getting off work. And right as I was leaving, you know the stair climbers?
Mm-hmm.
Right, so the stair climbers. This guy goes flying off the back of the stair climber. But then is, like, hanging on still. And then the stairs are, like, running down his stomach.
Oh, no. Ouch.
I know.
I'm never using a stair climber.
I mean, I've never seen that happen before. You've seen people go off the back of treadmills. It happens. Okay.
You must see that all the time.
Yeah. Saw one yesterday. Anyway, we're on like day 4 of the gym being open again. No, but I felt so bad for him because it's like I had to be like, let go. You need to let go. Come off of it. And then it was, yeah, poor guy. I just made sure he was okay because I was like, I'm a first dater. So I was all excited because I got to, no, it wasn't. And he was okay, but, you know, I was just like, but then he, like, ran away, basically, because he was so embarrassed, obviously.
I think if that happened to me, I would burn my gym membership. I could never go back to that location again. Cancel my membership. Don't even give me my money back. Just cancel it because I can never go back in that building again.
No, exactly. Yeah, so bless his heart. So I just made sure he was okay, and then he was, like, ran off because he was just really embarrassed. But I hope he comes back.
Pal, if you're listening, you can come back.
If you're listening, it's okay.
Has the gym been busy, or?
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah, especially, so on Monday when it opened at 12 in the afternoon, midday, we were at almost at capacity at like 12:30.
Jesus.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never wanted to work out, like, in my life. So this baffles me that people are like, oh, I just can't wait for the gym to open. I'm like, why?
You're like, this is great. I've had an excuse for this, you know, all this time, this whole pandemic. I haven't had, like, feel guilty about not going. Yeah, it's actually slowed down. You know, it's a little bit calmer. Like, I think that first day was like, everyone's really keen. Let's go.
Now everybody's sore.
Yeah, everybody's like, okay, well, there we go. We've done that. So now we're going to go to the pub. But yeah, it's, and it was just crazy. Like, I live obviously around town, and like, Monday was insane. They had the big ambulance bus out. You know, they, like, bring the ambulance bus, like, to, like, triage people from drinking.
In the street.
In the street.
Yeah.
That was out on a Monday. It was literally all, like, 18-year-olds.
Yeah.
Like, and it was just like, oh my gosh, like, this is wild.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Murder Friends, the podcast where 3 friends from 3 different countries talk about murder. My name's Alana, and I'm Canadian.
I'm Anna, and I'm American.
My name's Hannah, and I'm British.
So sit back and relax, you're among friends, and let's talk murder.
So what have you guys been doing this week on the grand partial reopening of the UK week? I just was waving my hands around. You can't see me at home.
She's flailing around. I went to my office, which was weird. I haven't been in 7 months. And, like,
wow.
you could tell. My desk was just, like, full of, like, filing, and I was like, oh, no. But it was all right. The commute wasn't bad. It was quiet.
Did you listen to a podcast?
I listened to... I'm going to get onto that. I did listen to a podcast. Almost an entire series of a podcast, because my commute's so long. And also... yeah, because I went for a walk at lunchtime as well, and I was like,
amazing.
Well, let's pop that on as well. So, yeah, it was good. It was kind of nice to be back in the office. It's like, I know it sounds weird. And, like, I do like working from home, but at the same time, I do like I like everything that I have in my desk drawers.
Yeah.
Like my little cutlery set. And like my good cup. And like my Jimmy cheese, which I'd left there. And like just like my good stationery.
Yeah.
It's not the same. It's not the same working from home.
No, it really isn't. It isn't, but it's good. I mean, fingers crossed you get to go in a little bit more now.
Yeah, it's kind of put me off now. I don't want to go back.
You're like, all right, good. I've done it.
Like I think one day every 7 months should be enough, right?
Can you get a contract for that?
I'm gonna say no.
Like, I'm happy
not.
to work for you. I'm only gonna come in once every 7 months.
Once every 7 months.
I still want a desk though. I want a desk, my own desk still. So, for that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep all my stuff on my desk.
Like there's like pictures of like your husband and your cat there, but you're like never.
There's literally pictures of my husband and my cat on my desk. It's nice. It's like it gets you through your day. And like before the pandemic, it was like one of those things that got you through your day when you could see like I had like a wedding photo on my desk, and I have like a picture of Edie, which is like my stupid cat, and it was just like this is why I go to work, to make sure that she can have like nice cat treats and like good toys. So and, she's the reason why I do it.
Pay for the vet bills.
God damn it.
Yeah, definitely.
It's all good. Yeah,
it's good. Well, have you guys been watching anything exciting you want to share for this? I mean, we're obviously not fully open. We're sort of, you can be outside. You can do things outside right now, and it's real cold. So I'm still inside. Other than like you can go to the gym and you can go in the store, so you can walk around the stores. So what are you guys watching?
I finally started watching Line of Duty. Yes. Everybody, anyone who knows about Murder Friends has been messaging me and be like, you really need to watch Line of Duty. It's unlike any detective show you've ever seen. I was like, all right. I'll get around to it. And then people kept saying, oh, Line of Duty. And it's on the newest season. They've been really pushing on BBC iPlayer. So I was like, you know what? All right, fine. Watch Line of Duty. So
you started from the beginning, yeah?
Oh yeah,
okay. Sorry,
breezed through the first season, and now we're like partially through the second season. It is really good.
Damn it!
You're like, damn it!
I knew it was gonna be good, but it is really good. So I timed it so the episode would finish just in time for recording, and then there will be enough time for another episode when we are finished. So I'll go back out and watch another one.
It's
kind of hard though because they're like almost a solid 60 minutes long, and there's only 5 or 6 episodes a season, so they're quite short. But yeah, it is really good. So I'm finally into the Line of Duty cheer squad.
It's good. It's good. I'm on the new season. Like I'm all caught up. I think I 2 years ago I binged it, got caught up. Well, I think I watched the last new season and then this one, and I've got the episode from Sunday like ready to go. My husband is not in the house. He's not here. So it's me.
Do you want to tell the people why your husband is not in the house, Anna?
Because we basically forced our husbands to go on a little mandate to the pub to get out of the house.
They've gone on a date. It's so funny.
Basically, because Hannah and I
I just find it so funny.
Walking distance from each other, so we're like right around the corner from each other. And I was like, we sort of were like, why don't they go out?
Why don't they just like go outside?
Yeah, can you just go outside? So
we organised a play date. We organized.
We organized a play date for our husband. So that's what they're doing. So I'm literally I'm gonna lay in bed with my glass of red. I don't normally drink during the week or anything, but like it's been a fucking. Sorry, I can swear it's our podcast.
Dude, have you listened to any episode?
I know. Do you know why? It's because I've been at work. Like working with people again. And I'm like,
doesn't stop me.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, so gonna have a glass of red, watch the newest episode of Line of Duty, alone, and live my best life.
For True Crime News this week, we are going to talk about the disappearance of Kristin Smart. So 2 arrests were made on the 13th of April 2021 in relation to the nearly 25-year-old case of the disappearance of Kristin Smart. Kristin was 19 years old, tall and natural blonde, and was last seen leaving a college party on the 25th of May 1996 with a group of acquaintances. On the short walk home to campus, Kristin and the now arrested Paul Flores were left to complete the walk alone. Paul said that he walked to his dorm with Kristin and then watched her walk to her dorm by herself. Apparently she was very inebriated at this point. Paul Flores, who's now 44, has been the prime suspect in the case, and he was arrested along with his father, Ruben Flores, who's aged 80. Both of the men's properties have been searched and, quote, items of interest, quote, have been recovered. So there is a podcast called Your Own Backyard, which was written and produced by Chris Lambert in 2019, and it looked into Kristin's disappearance. And it renewed sort of like public interest in the case. I know we've all downloaded the podcast now, and we're at like differing stages of it. But I was like really, really stumped that none of us had listened to it before, or like brought it up or said, "Oh, have you listened to that?" Because that's like basically the gist of all of our conversations. A lot of the time is like, "Have you seen this podcast?" or "Have you done that?" I'm on episode 6 of it because I went to work and I had a commute, and there was one part in it where they were like discussing Paul Flores's nicknames, and he had nicknames in school and college like Scary Paul, Psycho Paul, and my favourite, Chester the Molester.
Oh my god, his name's not even Chester. That's bad.
It's not.
It's not a good sign.
It's not a good sign. So that's really interesting and kind of a developing case at the moment. And I think we'll probably talk about the podcast at some point.
Yeah, definitely.
I think we shall review it. So if everyone listening now, go download it and we will review it maybe in another episode. Yeah?
Yeah, and tell us what you think about it as well, and we'll include some of those.
Yeah. Send it through. It's a good idea, actually. Send what you think about it. I've actually only listened to the first. I'm almost done with the first episode. I've just started it today. So I'm on it. But yeah. Let's do it. So I think we'll say next full episode, we'll have a go at it, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about the podcast now because obviously we're going to talk about it later. But I think I'm on episode 4 or 5. I've been binging it all day. There's one part that I found so fucking scary and unnerving and upsetting that I had to explain. I had to tell somebody, so I explained the entire gist of the podcast to my partner just so I could explain this one section, because it was this one section that was just like it just like hit me different. I don't know why. We will talk about it when we bring up this podcast, but I was just like, I need to tell someone right now. But first, I have to explain the entire story up until that point.
You should have just said it out of context and tried to like get the.
Well, you'll have to tell us which part, definitely, in particular.
Yes, I'm making
next full
notes.
episode.
Yeah, there's one part which I've made a note on, which made me so unbelievably upset that I sort of like wrote it down in the notes section of my phone while I was like out on my stupid little walk. So
Okay, good. All right, so definitely have a download, guys, and give us your feedback before the episode, and we can bring it up when we record.
Yeah, it's called Your Own Backyard, and it was written and produced by Chris Lambert a couple of years ago.
So this week, one of the things we are reviewing is called Murder Among the Mormons. Did either of you guys watch it? Part of it? All of it? Some of it?
Yeah, I watched all of it.
I tried like 8 times. I just kept there's a guy that talks really softly and he kept putting me to sleep. He needs to make like a sleeping app. Anyway, sorry. Sorry, I wasn't trying to be rude. It was just...
This guy needs to make like a sleep ASMR podcast.
Yeah.
All right, so I watched the 3-part docuseries on Netflix. We actually ended up watching it all in one sitting. There wasn't a lot on TV at the time, and just kind of like powered through it. And I figured I've written out a no spoiler review in case people do want to watch it, because I thought the revelation at the end was actually really interesting. So our story takes place in Salt Lake City in 1985. A series of pipe bombs kill 2 people and severely injures another. It's not clear why these bombs were planted or if there's more. it's a real like panic in the city because this has never happened before, and they don't know how many more are waiting around the city, you know, if other people are going to be murdered. There may be a connection to the Church of Latter-day Saints, or the LDS. There are a ton of historical documents in this area relating to the church, and the business of collecting these documents is, I wrote, is booming. No pun intended. I'm so sorry.
Oh my God.
Should have maybe edited that out. Real sorry. So basically, you know, you think of LDS, you know, Mormons, a lot are based in Salt Lake City. So naturally, there are a lot of historical documents in this area. I never really thought about it before, but there are loads of people who research, who like seek out these documents and then sell them. Which I guess is pretty interesting when you think of like other religions. They're just way too old. You're not going to find these types of documents. But for a fairly recent religion, the possibility of finding things is still it's still possible. So the murders shock the community when numerous early Mormon letters and diaries are found destroyed in the vehicle of the third victim, Mark Hoffman, a renowned collector of rare documents, including the infamous White Salamander letter, which was an artifact whose contents threatened to shake the very idea of what Mormonism is. Essentially, these documents were found and potentially destroyed within the bomb, and they might contradict the basis of Mormonism and how it was started, all that kind of stuff. So it's in Mark Hoffman's car. He collects these things. He's not killed, but he is like pretty severely injured, and all of these documents are basically like exploded out from the trunk of his car. So Murder Among the Mormons is a really comprehensive look at one of the most shocking crimes in the Mormon community, and we do discover the criminal mastermind behind it all. So episode 1 and 2 were a little bit confusing to me, and I can kind of see why you fell asleep. There are a lot of characters, and they are all white men with similar names, and they all kind of look like each other. So when they're interviewing these men, I was losing track of who is who and whose relationship with who, and why is he talking, and who is this man, because they all do kind of look alike. And it was a little bit difficult, but I think the third episode was so eerie that it completely makes up for any of the slowness earlier in the show, in the first 2 episodes. So we get a ton of information on LDS related documents. It goes into some of the troubles within the church, and that stuff is kind of confusing and a little bit overwhelming, but it does make sense why it's important, and it obviously does come back into the story afterwards. And like I said, we do find who the pipe bomb maker / murderer is. And there's interviews with said person in the last episode that are so like deadpan and extremely creepy. I almost wish more of the show kind of went into that rather than the build-up. That was a bit slow. But overall, I thought it was really interesting. I really didn't know much of this story. A podcast must have done it, you know, like My Favorite Murder or something. I like remember sort of the basis of it, but I really didn't know the details. And there was a lot of really interesting interviews. There was one of the friends, I don't know if you caught him, who was like a more flamboyant version of Winston Churchill.
Yes.
He is really good.
That is the most accurate description. Oh, amazing.
He does a great interview, and he really he's very passionate about it, and he very outspoken. So it's a really good interview. And we do get a lot of actual footage too. Of course, this is only in 85. Yeah. So there's loads of like news footage and stuff. But yeah, overall, I think it was worth a watch. First 2 episodes are slow, but if you're willing to push through it, I think that the last episode was like really fucking eerie. and you learn sort of the motivation behind the bombs and how victims were chosen, and it's just like kind of makes your skin crawl. So yeah, I thought it was good. Not amazing, maybe. I mean, if you fall asleep 8 times, it's probably not the most exciting thing ever, but I certainly thought it was good. What did you guys think?
I hadn't heard of the story before, and it is, as you said, like, it's super complicated. Like, there's a lot of like moving parts. There's a lot of information, and I think it's set out very well. But I think a lot of podcasts that would retell this might miss that out. But I think you need it for the context. So I think you almost kind of like have to slog through it.
Yeah.
And I wasn't annoyed at it. By the end of the second episode, I was like, I feel like this is, you need to know the full story. You need to see the whole picture of, you know, the crimes was like really, really heinous. Like a letter bomb is terrifying. And I think with all the extra information that you got, it really encapsulated and really pictorialized the shock in the community. I almost like, there's quite a big like twist in it, and I kind of almost didn't see it coming, which was shocking. I think it might have been a little bit heavy on the religious stereotyping. I don't know whether that was like an editing choice, but it wasn't a bad watch. I was just kind of unsure by the end of it whether or not I liked it. When it finished, and I was just like, oh, okay. Like, oh. No, like, super strong feelings. I would recommend, like, going and watching it. But I think, it was all right. You are right about the guy's super creepy voice at the end.
Yeah, holy shit.
It's so fucking creepy.
See, I did want to watch it. I do know the story roughly because I've heard it on a podcast, and I think there's a Forensic Files about it at some point. I've seen it. I know the rough. And then after I couldn't get through it, I then like Wikipedia'd it, and just to like refresh my memory. So the story is very like interesting. And you're right. You do need some of the backstory on it, I think. I think you're right.
Yeah, because
definitely
they sort of set it out that it could be, you know, a murderer, like psychopath, serial killer, or potentially it could be the church is trying to destroy these documents that go against what the church says is their history. So it really like I get why they did it. It has to show so much so you can understand sort of the foundation of like, oh yeah, okay, it could actually be someone in the church trying to get these documents destroyed and why they would risk murdering people to do that. But it does require a lot of storytelling, and you're told things, right? You're not shown necessarily. You're not shown by. You're not taught by showing, you're taught by just straight up telling. So people are telling you the history of Mormonism, and they're telling you about this document business and that kind of stuff. So it's very information heavy, especially the first 2 episodes. And then the 3rd episode is your payoff. And you're like, oh, like, I get it.
I know there's Mormons all over the world. There are Mormons all over the world. Every episode makes it point. But I know it's quite, not big in America, but there's a large population of Mormons in America. So I know a bit more about it already. And maybe that, as well, because I already sort of knew a little bit. I don't know if you guys know any people who practice the faith here or in Canada yourself, but...
Yeah, I went to school with a couple of guys
okay.
who did, yeah.
Yeah. So I knew a little bit about it. I always found it really interesting, though, because I think it's so... The way Mormons are quite strict with their... They're just a little bit different. Like, they're very strict with certain things, but then, like, they're very, like, generally... Okay, like, on Instagram, like, big Instagrammers, like, really beautiful ones that do, like, these amazing home accounts and, like, lifestyle ones. They're Mormon, and there's quite, like, a lot of really popular ones that do, and they're so good. And I was always, like, fascinated more about their, like, the religion and stuff like that. It was really interesting. So, yeah. But I would say, especially if you don't know about this crime, definitely give it a watch. I know I was saying that, but I trust what you guys said, because I mean, like, if it was me saying like, you guys gotta watch it, and you guys were like falling asleep, you know, maybe don't. But no, I trust that, and especially if you don't know anything about it, it's very interesting, like crime and all of it. So
I think it's a different type of crime too. We do so many, like, you know, the classic Dateline episode, a spouse kills another spouse kind of thing. This is very different, and a very different way of murdering people that you don't often see, because I mean, it is so difficult. And they try to glaze over how it happens, of course, because they don't want, you know, people figuring out how to make pipe bombs. But yeah, I'd give it like a 3.5 out of 5 kind of thing. I think it was good. Not my favorite, but it's still very interesting.
Yeah, I gave it a watchable 3.5 as well.
Yeah, I can't vote. I feel like it's not fair. No, but I will say, give it a go. Listen to them. Right, for our second review today, we're going to do Operation Varsity Blues, the college admissions scandal, which is a new documentary on Netflix. Have you guys both watched it?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, good. It's a new documentary from Netflix, and it covers the college admissions scandal from 2019 in the U.S. That spring, an investigation, codename Operation Varsity Blues, revealed that wealthy families had used bribes to guarantee places at prestigious universities for their children as a part of a scheme organized by William Rick Singer, a former basketball coach turned independent college counselor. So the documentary is directed by Chris Smith, who also did the Fry Festival one a few years back. Do you guys remember that one?
Oh, yeah.
Fire Festival?
Fire Festival, yeah.
Okay, sorry. I can't remember how it was. The FBI alleged that beginning in 2011, 33 parents of high school students conspired with other people to use bribery and other forms of fraud to illegally arrange to have their children admitted to top colleges and universities. The authorities became aware of the scheme around April 2018 when businessman Maury Tobin was being wiretapped in another case. So he was approached, and then he offered up Rick Singer, who was like the head of it, who ran the whole scheme. And then when Singer was approached, he was like, yep, I'll help you. So he was like, he agreed to help the FBI catch and incriminate all the parents. So he just was like, see ya, guys. So Singer's scheme was really popular with concerned upper-class parents because it occupied a gray area. I think Singer sold it as a more of like a gray area rather than straight up illegal, but surely deep down inside they knew it was wrong. Let's face it. They exploited pre-existing loopholes in sort of the college admissions system. He referred to each successful case as finding a side door into these elite institutions. So getting in on merit would be, by his logic, like the front door, while making multi-million-dollar donations would be the back door, although that happened as well. So the documentary comes in and like recreates a phone conversation, and they use actor Matthew Modine as Singer. So I don't know if you guys recognized him. Did you? No. So he must be, I did, and then looking at it, he's like a bit of a like TV show actor in America. So he wasn't unknown, but like he wasn't just like an extra. So they actually got like a bit more of an actor, I think, to play him. So I actually happened to be in the US when this story broke, and it was like crazy, like everywhere, especially because several actresses, American actresses, were arrested as well. Felicity Huffman of Desperate Housewives. I don't know if you guys ever watched that. I highly doubt it. Either of you watched that show. Can't imagine it.
Oh no, I love it. Love it. Yeah, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, watch all of that shit.
Yeah. Obviously, I watch Desperate Housewives because we know. So she was arrested and pled guilty after to paying $15,000 to have someone correct her daughter's entrance exam answers. She served 11 days of a 14-day sentence in California jail later that year. Also, actress Lori Loughlin, who was in the 90s show Full House. Did you guys ever watch that show?
No.
What? Sorry, of course, it was like an American 90s, like, just anyone my age, like, everyone watched Full House. Anyway, and she also does, like, these Hallmark movies. They're very much American actresses. They're not necessarily in stuff that you guys would necessarily know. She does, like, all these Hallmark movies. So, like, the Hallmark channels, like, those, I think here it's, like, Movies 24.
Yeah, it's all the cheesy ones, isn't it?
Yeah, like B-grade movies.
Yeah, the made-for-TV B-grade movies. Well, actually, they used to show a lot of the Hallmark movies on Movies 24 in the UK. So she completed a 2-month prison sentence for paying $500,000 to get her 2 daughters into the University of Southern California. So Singer cooperated with federal investigators and later pleaded guilty to racketeering, but he's not yet to be sentenced. The documentary, I think, in my opinion, they do a good job of like painting a picture with the reenactments, because it's really hard to like do. I'm like, how to do this documentary with a bunch of wiretaps without making people fall asleep, just being really boring. So I thought the reenactments, even though they were mostly just people standing around talking on the phone, were okay. I thought it wasn't too cheesy in my opinion. Like I thought it was okay. I thought it was like decently produced. It did a good job of like sort of laying out what happened and stuff like that. It was all right. I don't know. Then again, I don't know if this was very much something that you needed to be American to watch, because I don't know if you guys have any idea if I know that the college and university system like doesn't work the same way, and we have just totally different. So I don't know if some of the stuff was kind of like, what? Like lost on you, or they did a good job explaining it or anything. So I'm not really sure in that respect if it was like, I don't know. So that was my opinion. I mean, honestly, I had it on and it's not something you need your full attention for. I was kind of like watching it and like doing, whatever. So for me, it was like, it's all right. Stick it on if you're interested in it. If you're not, don't. But what did you guys think?
So I remember when the story happened, and I remember seeing the news, like a couple rich people were arrested. And I thought, that's embarrassing. Like, your kid's not smart enough to get into university. And then it just kind of like went away. And so watching this, I didn't realize just how many people were doing this and over such a long period of time. So that was quite eye-opening. And yeah, it was a little bit cheesy, but like you said, how do you make wiretap conversations interesting? You have to do reenactments. Like, there's no other way. So you kind of have to just like get past that and just accept it for what it is.
Yeah.
But there's certainly some moments that are extremely rage-inducing when you think of like that, the way the system is in the US and how universities rate themselves on prestige, which is nothing. It's just, it's not a real thing, but it makes them desirable. Whereas Canada is a little bit different. Obviously, we don't have Harvard or Yale or that kind of thing, so the pressure isn't the same in Canada. So it felt a little bit foreign to be watching these kids like bawl their eyes out online because they didn't get into their Ivy League school. Like, I never felt that way. I went to college, like 2 years college, peace out. Like, so that's that kind of the emotional attachment. I couldn't understand myself, at least. But also they touch on a lot of different topics, and they don't really dive into all of them because there's not enough time. But, the fact that rich people already have enough opportunities, and yet they're having to lie and steal to get even further ahead. And also the discussion on universities in the US, and do admissions need to change? And like it touches on so many different aspects, but it's quite a big conversation to get into. But overall, like, perfectly fine. It was interesting. I learned something new. Kind of like the last documentary. I think it was just, it's watchable. It's interesting. Yeah, so a solid documentary.
Yeah.
I liked that they used the transcripts from the real calls, like, and reenacted them. But I did, like, you say it was cheesy, but I think the acting was like hammy. Almost. Do you know what I mean by that? It means it was like hammed up. It seems like that, like one theatre kid that's like trying too hard, which is fine. That's an acting style. The story's actually really, really sad, and I think the parents, the emotions of the parents were played off massively, especially the ones who were like absent on work or weren't at home as much. Did I spend enough time with my kids, kind of thing. They're trying to they do it on that basis that they want the best for their kids, but really there are like two types of victim in the story, and that's one, the children who are unaware their parents were doing it.
Oh, that's horrible. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Imagine like finding that out, thinking that you'd got into a top school on your own merit, and then it turns out that your parents had like paid someone to lie and change your test scores. Like,
Or
Jesus.
that your sibling had to pay less to get in the school, but your price tag was higher to get in.
Oh, God.
There were some of the conversations where, like, the mom was like, yeah, she's, stupider. Or she actually called her kid, like, dumb. Like, I don't know. It's just like, how is your relationship how would you ever trust your parents again? How would your relationship ever be okay? It'd be, like, forever ruined, wouldn't it? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, like, serious therapy time.
Yeah, therapy, for
And
sure.
then, like, the other victim of this story are the people who were applying on their own merit, but without that background support, and then not getting the places that were assigned to these people. Like, they're the ones I feel most sorry for in this entire story. And the amounts of money that were being thrown around for these, like, tutorings, it was like, could you not use that money for something else? Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It was kind of sickening. I really enjoyed the, like, House of Cards moment at the end. Do you remember that, like, one guy gets arrested and he, like, snitches on the other guy, and then the other guy snitches, and it's just, like a snitch circle.
Yeah.
I thought it was brilliant, but as we know, in white-collar crime, snitches don't get stitches, so it's fine. Even, like, the guy who perpetrated the whole thing was like, yeah, I'll snitch.
Yeah, he's like, okay.
He was, like, straight in. Yep. He was straight in, and I thought that was brilliant. And the other note that I wrote was the punishments these people received were, and this is a direct quote from my handwritten notes, the punishments these people received were weak sauce. 2 months, 5 months, 14 days. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap. But yeah, shame on this guy, but shame on the parents. God knows how those kids feel. Yeah, and also it's like the documentary is only an hour and 40 minutes. So you're not wasting like 18 hours of your life on that fucking Cecil Hotel documentary that we watched.
True, yeah.
Like it's like short and sweet. But I did feel, as a like British person watching it, I had known nothing about the like how colleges work. I don't really get. I get what a scholarship is, but like I don't know how you would like finesse the system to get one. Does college really matter that much in the US?
Oh, it's beyond. It's all that you do. You go to school to go to college. That's what I was going to explain that too. So your whole life revolves around what college and university you're going to go to, basically. Literally, you're like groomed, and your SAT score. So you do like SAT prep in places. You specifically take classes to look good for your college application, starting at your beginning of your high school career. And your extracurricular activities, because you have to look like a well-balanced person. But the only reason you're doing it is to look like a well-balanced person for your admissions.
That's psychopathic.
It is. Yeah. It's wild. It is so cutthroat. There's about 8. There's so many. It's a huge business in the U.S. Most people go to college and university. So college in the U.S. is the same thing as university. It's expensive. It's really like there's 8 Ivy League schools, but then there's a ton of really good schools too. And then like even there's just a lot of competition to go to the good ones, and there's only so many spots, and it's crazy. It's like we literally in the school you have a college admissions guidance like counselor, so to like help you get into where you want to go and like stuff like that. Now the average person doesn't have the money to pay like these people. Like that's not a normal thing. Now, the other way you can go to good schools and different schools is through sports merit. So let's say you are an amazing, so 2 things.
Rower,
yeah. You can go to the rowing. Yeah, that's ridiculous. But you can get on the teams. So in America, we have obviously like the NFL and like, like the NBA, like the basketball and the football, which are American football, which are really big sports. Here in the UK, you can be signed to a team when you're like, 16 or something. You don't have to go to school.
Or younger.
It doesn't work that way. You have to get signed through this college. They sign you through the colleges. So these people have to go to college. Like you get signed from college in university. Does that make sense? So, because that's another big industry.
How you're explaining it makes sense, but like, does my brain compute it? No fucking way. Like, I don't understand that.
It's bananas.
Whatsoever.
The whole thing is flawed.
Yeah, I remember once we were in Las Vegas. It was like March, and it was like college football season, and I had no clue what was happening, and people were like betting on it and stuff, and I was like, did these people like go to school at the same time?
Yeah, so it's
how do you have time?
I know. It's really good. I know, it's wild because they're playing at professional levels but with school, but they have these whole programs that like recruit them, the best of the best in the country. I mean, obviously it's a much bigger country with people, like more people wise. Now, the college stuff is actually really fun because they're not paid professionals. So it's a bit more, people get really into the college stuff, especially like where they went to school and they really follow it. And it's a big thing in like March Madness, which is the basketball, which is the schools. It is really good fun in that. And people get really into in general, like people are really into sports at home, like in America. Even women are really into it. It's a very just like culturally, it's like different. I just think you should never be able to pay your way into spots that other people have to either be working since birth at a sport to be the best of the best of the best to get into playing, or both, and have good academic. Because you have to have like a certain GPA. You can't be like failing. I'm sure there's people that are helping them too, or pay your way in. Like it is flawed. Like they've got to work out a better system. So. Anyway, sorry, I was going on one there. Sorry.
I just don't understand the college admissions thing. And like in the UK, there's not so much. Well, in England almost, there's not so much pressure, I don't think, to attend. And then, I mean, we have like what we call like Russell Group universities, if you've heard that, which is like a group of universities, and they're like topper, like the higher tier. Then you're more likely to like get jobs out of universities if you've been to one of those. But it doesn't matter. A degree's a degree at the end of the day.
I agree. I prefer the
grade's
system here.
The same. Like it doesn't. I mean, I got my degree through fucking OU, for God's sake. Like it doesn't matter. Still get to use the letters after my name, but like that's the only reason I did it.
Get those letters.
It just doesn't matter.
No,
like, it doesn't matter.
I agree with you. I prefer the system here. I think there's too much pressure on people way too young. And then you come out of it unless you do get a scholarship. So you get a scholarship, you can get grants and scholarships to go places where you get your tuition paid for and like living expenses and some, depending on how big the scholarship is. But like, it's just, you have your whole life to be stressed out. Like, look at us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Doesn't get better.
It doesn't get any better. So why are you doing it to him at that age? I agree. So I'm totally with you guys. Anyways, so out of 1 to 5, what are you going to rate it? I say it's a 3.
Yeah, 3.
I gave it a 3.
Yeah. All right. If you got nothing better to do, stick it on. It's in the background.
Fold some laundry.
Exactly.
Weird crime time.
It's weird crime time. It's like super disgusting.
Oh, good.
This week for Weird Crime Time, we're going to Scotland. And before we get into the story, we've said it before that this isn't an animal crime podcast, but it is slowly turning into an animal crime podcast. I don't know how. I don't think we're angry about it. It's just evolution. Beaks, you know. I wasn't actually going to do this one, but then James, I used my husband as like an intern, and he sent me in, and I had to change it like midway through the week. So the Edinburgh Evening News had this absolute trinket of a headline, and it read, "Edinburgh woman bites off man's tongue in street brawl before seagull swooped down and ate it."
Oh my god.
God, I really didn't see that coming.
No.
I was like, where's the animal going to come in? Where's the animal going to come in?
So Bethany Ryan and James Mackenzie were absolute strangers. They just didn't know each other. It wasn't like a domestic fight in the street or anything. And this happened on the 1st of August 2019, which I think is important for context, because I don't think the story would have happened in 2020.
No.
How are you getting your tongue? Anyway, continue.
By a stranger.
I'm literally about to tell you, and it's absolutely bonkers, and I don't believe it. Okay. So there was an altercation between them as they passed on the street. This was about around 8 p.m. Bethany tried to walk away, but James apparently approached her with a clenched fist. Very threatening. It's claimed that Bethany tried to push him, but then she tried to kiss him.
All right.
Wait. Whilst kissing him, she bit off a portion of his tongue. The pair kind of like separated and sort of fell apart. James sort of started to walk away, and then he spat out the chunk of tongue. It's really not a phrase I thought I'd say today.
I didn't think I'd hear it either.
I'm so disgusted with myself. Then a large seagull appeared and ate it. The chunk of tongue, oh, I hate this, was 2 centimetres by 3 centimetres, which doesn't sound a lot, but when we're talking about tongue, that's massive. That's quite a big chunk. That's a big chunk of tongue. Jokes aside, Bethany pleaded guilty to assault and is awaiting sentencing. And because the seagull ate it, they couldn't get it back to reattach it. So James is actually permanently disfigured by this attack. I don't know if I believe that story. I believe the seagull part, because the seagull's harmless in that. But the whole, like, they had an altercation in the street, they didn't know each other. She tried to kiss him. Why to, like, try and disarm him? It doesn't make sense. And then she, like, bit a chunk of his tongue off. Like, think of the force that you would need to use. I don't think my teeth could handle that. It just makes me...
Recently, for a video, I set up a P.O. box. One of the my YouTube viewer people from Scotland sent me a bunch of alcohol in the post. Buckfast being one of them. Now,
oh, that's danger fluid.
Yeah. If we're talking about Scotland and we're talking about getting rowdy in the street at 8 p.m., perhaps Buckfast was involved. You know, if she downed some of that, I mean, after I had some, I thought I was seeing, like, different colors. Like, it was a real experience.
It's so
what is it? I've never heard of it.
It's like a fortified wine, isn't it, or something?
It's
yeah,
alcohol and caffeine. It's like a Four Loko, but higher percentages. So, you know, you get your
but it's
uppers
like
and your
historic,
downers
isn't it?
in the same time. And, yeah, I could see if she, you know, had some Buckfast, perhaps he looked at her the wrong way, or perhaps they bumped into each other and then just like, you know what, I am gonna bite a piece of his tongue off.
Like, I'm gonna fuck you up. Oh, I just thought that was probably the most disgusting weird crime time.
Yeah, with an animal.
The seagull was featured very, very, like, minorly in the story, but I just don't ever want to say chunk of tongue again.
Wow.
Oh, gross.
We, you know, not only do we talk about a lot of animal crimes, but, like, birds specifically.
Yeah, birds.
Like, what?
Well,
Maybe
birds aren't real.
Okay, that could be it. Because perhaps...
So you can program a bird to do something, couldn't you?
I think we've learned that in the crime world, birds obviously are at the top.
Yeah.
Like they're like the mob bosses, like, or something. Something's going on there. It's my theory, so...
I'm going to go back through previous episodes and count up how many animal crimes we've done, and then, like, see how many of those were birds.
Birds. I think you should
bird
do that.
related.
Loads
Report back.
And then we'll
Next
put, like, a
episode.
little ratio percentage on Instagram. You can follow us on Instagram. It's fun.
Yes. All right. Well, I think that's all we have for today. You can check out our website, murderfriends.com, and you can see our sources for what we chatted about today. You can email us with any suggestions at murderfriendspod@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at murderfriendspd and Instagram, murderfriendspod. And we'll see you next time. Bye.